Hi, this is Vonda Rogers from Honeymoons and Vacations by Vonda, and I'm just coming in here with a really quick, super quick video about passports. So I just recently came back from a trip to the Dominican Republic, and I was sitting, or well, standing in line during that long TSA thing, and I had a passport and the lady in front of me didn't, and the lady in the back of me did not. So they were kind of shooting questions at me like, well, why do I need one? And you know, so all that. Okay. So the context of it is this, that I'm going to tell you in this video or live stream, whichever you want to call it, however you're watching it. Why do you need a passport? How do you get a passport, and some of the do's and don'ts as far as passports, so that you can have a smooth process about whether or not you're going to apply for a passport. So here we go. Number one, do you need a passport? And that totally depends on you. Currently, we are not at the point where passports are required for all travel within the continental U.S. or outside the continental U.S. So that's a good thing. So this really comes down to a personal choice. Now, if you are planning on doing the majority of your travel within the continental U.S. or Hawaii and Puerto Rico, or you are planning to just primarily cruise, you are perfectly fine with the state-issued ID and birth certificate if you're cruising. So you don't need a passport if that's going to be your primary avenue of travel. If, on the other hand, your primary avenue of travel is going to be going to other countries, going to Europe, going to the Caribbean, going to South America, going to Africa, you have to have a passport. There's no way around it. You can't even board your flight without a passport. So, now, on the other hand, if you're primarily cruising, it may help you to have a passport just for ease of use. It gets you through the line quicker. You don't have to wait as long. There's no issues, no problems. Flash it, bang, scan it, you're gone. So, now that I've told you whether or not you're supposed to or need to have your passport, let's talk about the passport application process. Okay, this is where things get a little hairy and tricky. So, the first part of your passport application process is you're going to need your passport form. And you're going to need to go to secretaryofstate.gov. secretaryofstate.gov. And you can fill out your information into the form on that website, and then you can print it out, or you can just print it out and fill it out by hand. Now, once that information is done, you're going to need your name, your social security number, your address, your date of birth, of course, whether or not you've married or you've gotten married and divorced, you need to know that. You also need to know your parents' names and their date of birth as well. And you're going to take all that information and put it into the application. Now, there is a little button on there that says, where can I apply for my passport? And you're going to need to click that and put in your zip code to find out exactly where in your area that you need to go to apply for your passport. Most of the time, if you're in a larger city, like New York, Los Angeles, that type of place, it's probably going to be at a post office. If you're in a smaller area where they don't have a post office that has a passport official, then you're probably going to go to your local courthouse. So, now, fees. Okay. Passports are $125. The post office charges an extra $25 fee. So you're going to need to have your passport fee in money order form. Just take a money order. It's easier. Okay? Get a money order for the passport fee, and then get a separate money order for the post office fee if you have to go to the post office. Don't put them together because you'll catch you know what in line. So separate them and have that. Second, you're going to need to have a passport photo. Passport photos are very specific types of photos. You have to go somewhere to get a passport photo. So, go somewhere like Walgreens, CVS. The post office does take passport photos, but they're very expensive. They're like $15, sometimes $20, $25, where you can go to Walgreens and catch the right sale, and it's like $4.99, sometimes it's $9.99, $10.99, but save those extra dollars. You're going to need it for your trip. So get your passport photos and traipse off to whatever public official venue that you have to go to. And the passport official is going to ask for certain documents. They're going to ask for your state issued ID. They're probably going to make a copy of it. I've never seen a time that they have not. So be prepared for that. The second thing, and I have a lot of people who freak out about this, and that's why I always try to give a warning to my clients. When you get there, if you need your birth certificate for anything important over the next 6 to 8 weeks, it might not be a good time to apply. You may want to wait, because they are going to take possession of your birth certificate so that they can match it with the birth certificate on file at the Secretary of State's office. There is no way around this. They're not stealing it. They're not trying to do some conspiracy against you because they already have it on file. They just want to make sure that everything matches up exactly. So you will have a pretty good clue of when your passport is due to come back to you, because you'll usually get your birth certificate back in the mail, and it'll be by priority mail, insured of course, about a week to 2 weeks before your passport comes. So that's kind of like your clue that, oh, okay, we're coming back. We're getting things together. So once that whole process is done, and they'll send you finally your passport in the mail, and it lasts for 10 years. So whatever the exact date is that it was processed to the next exact date 10 years later. So I myself personally, my passport expires September 2019. So next year will be going through the renewal process. So with that being said, what can happen to cause them to say your passport is denied? Okay, there are a couple of reasons. The most common reason is you probably didn't fill something out right. Either you omitted some information was incorrect, like your mom was born in 1959 and you put 60. Or your address was wrong, like you put a digit in wrong. Usually it's just really simple typographical small human errors. That's why I say double check your application thoroughly before you take it in and make sure everything is right. And there's nothing wrong with printing off another one and starting from scratch, because it's a lot cheaper than having to go back and pay that $125 all over again. So with that being said, the second reason that you can probably get denied is, and this is a lot more common for men than it is for women, but if you owe back child support in arrears for non-payment. If you owe any back child support, you may want to check with whomever your state is that has issued your child support order and ensure that you are up to date or they have your payment plan on file, or whatever the case. Because when the Secretary of State's office bounces that Social Security number and they see negative arrears, they're going to stamp denied on there, because they're going to think you're trying to escape child support, and they will stamp denied, and your money will be gone. So before you even apply, start that process, and it's just a phone call. Call them and make sure, and sometimes get a copy, a physical copy, that you are up to date, just in case you have to fight something. So that's the second most common reason. The third most common reason is if you have certain felonies, and the majority of those felonies have to do with drug trafficking. So the government does not want you to leave if that's your issue. So those are usually the top 3 reasons why people get denied. So the first one is just small erroneous paperwork errors. The second is you are behind on child support or in arrears with your state. And third, you have some type of felony conviction that usually has to do with drug trafficking, and you will be denied on that course. So passports are really an easy thing to get once you get past all the paperwork portion and you understand and you're informed about what's going to happen during the process, and then you're free to travel the world for 10 years until it's time to renew. Well, really 9.5. So, because you have to get your passport renewed 6 months before it expires. That's the best rule of thumb. So, this is all about passports. Do you need one? Should you get one? Is it worth your time? It's all depending on you. But just for ease of use, I would definitely suggest, if you're going to start traveling a lot, definitely get a passport and go from there. Oh, how could I forget? Passports for children. This is my second most asked question about passports, is for children. And it's pretty much the same process. There is a slight difference in fee, and I don't remember that on top of the head, but I will drop it down into the description and kind of let you know what the price difference is, or I'll leave a link. But all of those fees are listed on secretaryofstate.gov, so you can definitely know how much that is for your children to be able to travel. And it's the same thing. You'll need their birth certificate, because of course if they're really minors, meaning under 16, they will not need a state issued ID. But same process, comes back in 6 weeks. I have had issues where if parents are separated, or they're divorced, or they were never married, there is a little thing where you're going to have the other person sign paperwork to say that they are allowing you to get your child a passport. But if that's your issue, shoot me an email or shoot me a message, and we'll talk about that specifically, because that can be a whole nother video by itself. But if you have any questions about passports, any questions about, you know, things that are concerning travel, I'm your girl. So definitely hit me up, and I will be doing videos live once a week. And if you can't catch me live, catch me on the replay. So definitely have a wonderful week and enjoy your day. Bye.